Peace, peace, family. Now, this video right here is about the spiritual time trap. Now, we're going to jump right into this. When you say, what's a spiritual time trap, what is that? Exactly what it sounds like. A spiritual time trap. Now we want to talk about what traps or enslaves the soul? The illusion of time. See, when you're dealing with spelling and cursive, aka casting of spells or cursing yourself, your vocabulary enslaves you. See, let me give you an example, because after I break this down and get out the foundation, I'm gonna show you how the elites are manipulating the world, okay, and are manipulating the souls that inhabit these bodies across the world, who identify with themselves vernacularly as humanity, to be ensnared within a temporary mode or module of existence when you are an infinite being. Now watch this, right? African. You watch this video right now, you said I said I'm an African, right? The word African is approximately 2,000 years old. Now they say the word comes from Scipio Africanus, who lived around 200 BC. So that's approximately 2,000 years ago from today, right? So that's around the same time they say Jesus walked Earth. So now, genetically, we can prove that we're millions of years old. Spiritually, we can prove that we was here as soon as the universe manifested itself. We manifested ourselves. But yet you identify with yourself with a label that confines you to a 2,000-year existence. You see what I'm saying? So that being said, every day, your everyday words and your everyday phrases, you are casting a spell upon yourself to ensnare your soul into a 3D construct of reality. So when we say time, right? Time is to be subject to the observation of the soul, not to make the soul subjected to the experiences of what time has to offer. So a lot of y'all, right, are living y'all lives because y'all feel like time is running out. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough, it's only so much time in a day. When really, you are experiencing physical reality within a limited amount of time because your soul is too great to be contained by this vessel. See, you're not dying. You're waiting to be reborn. I already broke down the science of aging in one of my previous videos, so I'm not going to go into that. But the point I'm trying to make is, you believe that when you die, life is over. When actually, when you came out of the womb, you were waiting to be born. As your body is aging, it is waiting to release who you truly are. You go back into that which you came, which is home. You go back into the essence of life. See, all physical reality is created from the spiritual reality. That is who we truly are. You are leaving that which was created to go back to that which created such a creation, which is yourself. You are getting ready to leave this physical vessel and go back to your spiritual home. So you have allowed the European to reverse engineer your spiritual understanding with you in the universe, aka your higher self. You believe that you're going to die one day, when really you're going to be born. You're dying. When you came out of that womb, death began. Your body begins to age. And once you leave this vessel, you are born. So that being said, let's bring this back to the beginning premise of this video. Spiritual time trap, right? The reason we have a problem identifying with ourselves and we have a problem becoming enlightened and gaining true ethereal wisdom is because we're searching for it within limited and temporary events of existence. See, we're an ocean, but we're looking for ourselves inside of a bottle of water. See, the bottle of water only contains a limited amount of who you are, and the bottle itself will one day decay and have to release that water. But yet, that water, right, due to living its existence within a limited perspective, aka being trapped within a bottle of water, it's lost not only its physical connection to its original self, which is the ocean, it's lost its informational connection and its intellectual connection and its spiritual connection, aka its organic connection with its original self, which is a body of water. So now, the bottle of water in this situation is going to be allegorical to our vocabulary, right? So if you say, I'm an African American, well, America was created in 1777. So America is approximately, let's say 200 years and some change. So you're an American, so you're only 200 years old. How? When your soul has been in existence since there was a such thing as existence. So how are you a 200-year-old being, or are you an infinite being? See, when we're talking about being infinite and immortal, infinite immortals, You have to identify yourself with such as that. So when we're dealing with this language itself, you have to understand this language itself is a curse. And it was meant to curse you and cast spells upon you. And that's why you have to spell it. And that's why you can either spell it when expressing it, or you write in cursive. Now, why would they give you a cursed language to express? Why would they give you a limited language to express an unlimited being, which is yourself? I'll tell you why. When you're dealing with ancient languages, such as the hieroglyphics, there were ideographs or pictures, right? Now, why is this important? Because you can't spell a picture. You can't write a picture in cursive. A picture was an image of that which was already natural with an ideology or an idea attached to it. A intellectual concept meant to be conveyed soon as you visually digested the image. So that being said, our ancestors spoke telepathically and they spoke empathically through color visualization. This is a fact. So when you talk about ancient writings, this is why real ancient civilizations don't have writings. They have pictures, okay? Fake ass new or digressed civilizations have writings. Well, see, when we say the ancient Mayans, oh, what's ancient about them? They're not ancient. They're not an ancient 20,000. Listen, when we talking about ancient, we talking about shit that's 40, 50, 60, 70,000 years old. Shit that's 2,000, 1,000 years old is not ancient. That's fucking yesterday, dude. That's not ancient. So we talking about previous historical civilizations, they have writing. All ancient civilizations don't have writing. They have imagery, okay? Because they were inhabited by a higher echelon of beings, aka African people, who have more informational access or more information available to them that they were accessing through their DNA due to the fact they lived in certain zodiac houses and were exposed to certain cymatic frequencies being emitted by the sun. So that being said, telepathy, okay, is an actual possibility. They've already proven, the CIA has already proven the actual capability of telepathy through the use of tracking people sending thoughts from one human to another through the use of certain technological equipment. So that being said, humans have an ability that is being demoted and digressed through the use of technology. So that being said, technology is used to make you dependent upon it as a piece of equipment in order to become the medium of what you could already naturally do yourself. Now, when we coming back to soul and we coming back to trapping the soul, your vocabulary keeps your perspective limited. And so you are always that water inside of the bottle searching for your oceanic self, because you are trying to understand your true self through the bottle, when you must remove the bottle in order to identify with your infinite source. See, we're talking about vocabulary, right? And people always want to play, word semantics or they think this English language is so high and mighty. This English language is one of the most wickedest things that you can ever possess as a non-Englishman. See, as all other, when we're dealing with Europeans, let's stay with Europeans, so we're dealing with their language. When we're dealing with the European language, they are not infinite beings. They will not exist forever. The sun is eradicating their ass. So their language suits them, okay? And they do Masonic shit and all kind of other things I'm going to break down in my occult lecture, okay, when we come to Compton in April. But with that being said, they do all kind of things in order to keep their power. And the number one practice of the European is spiritual warfare. And the number one way to enslave a soul is to detach that soul from its own self-relationship, okay? So with that being said, you are a substance of water trapped inside a water bottle trying to identify with your oceanic self. But the water bottle does not allow you to make that connection. The language that we speak does not allow us to make the spiritual connections that we need to make in order to identify and liberate our true selves. Everything that you say, right, is self-hypnotizing. I'll give you an example. I always give this example. You wake up in the mirror, right, and you say, I'm hungry. Now, they tell you that that's proper English. I am hungry. That's the most enslaving statement you can make as a soul. I'll tell you why. You are not your body, okay? If you raise your hand right now, your body didn't just raise the goddamn hand. You gave a command to the body to raise the hand. So if you are not your body, how are you hungry? The correct terminology would be, this body needs to be energized, right? Or one must feed oneself, okay? When you're dealing with synchronicity to the body being the expression of the soul. So when we look at Chinese people or ancient cultures, since we want to say ancient cultures, We laugh at them. Oh, Chinese people talk funny as hell. They talking that wisdom. They're actually speaking in a way to where they don't self-hypnotize themselves to be trapped within their physical self. Okay? So we're talking about vocabulary. And what you say, everything you do is limiting who you are. The fact that you believe that this is you, nigga, you've been enslaved. And then the fact that you believe you come into existence at a certain time you've been enslaved. When you say, oh, my family has been on this land and they established this land 2,000 years ago. Oh, really? Oh, really, nigga? Really? Because your DNA is about billions of years old. So how are you a 2,000-year-old generation of people when your DNA is infinite? We can trace, nigga, you made up of billions of year-old stardust. So as I make this video right now and I touch my face, I am confident that my face is made up of suns that no longer exist because they exploded billions of years ago. So with that being said, even when we want to say African, right? And we being mature, because after this video, I'm letting you know I'm going to continue to say African because I want people to identify what the current level of entities I'm speaking of in this day and time that we have become accustomed to identifying with. But you have to have what I call third eye vision. You have to be able to see past the illusions of the 5 physical senses. You ain't an African because you're not nothing. You are what you choose to identify yourself with. And the reason you are trapped in time is because you identify with it. You are as old as that which you associate yourself with. Period. If some shit came out yesterday, okay, and you say, okay, let me make some up. If I say, okay, we're going to call this group the Johnnies, right? 2017. And then 10 years go by, it's 2027 now, and niggas say, I'm from the Johnnies family. Oh, really, nigga? You only 10 years old, huh? You only 10 years old now, huh? So if 2,000 years go by, and they say Pharaoh had a great civilization called the Johnny civilization, and it's a 2,000-year-old civilization, and they're so high and mighty. Really? Really? So all the descendants who already had ancient DNA and an ancient physiological structure before I even established the Johnnies are now somehow confined to the Johnnies. So now, what did this create? It creates egotistical infighting because you're lost. Now you're fighting to uphold the doctoral teachings and the ways of life of a 2,000-year-old establishment that I created, predicated upon the name Johnnies, okay? When your being is actually more infinite and ancient than what I chose to create as a man. So that being said, we're talking about religion, Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. Okay, well, Christianity is only about 1,400 years old. And your DNA is millions and billions of years old. And you're made up of billions of year stardust. So how the fuck is you a Christian when your physical, not even your spiritual essence, your physical self is billions of years old than your mental self? So if your mind does not match your body and your spirit, then nigga, your mentality is incorrect, nigga. That's as simple as that. If I know spiritually I'm as old as the universe, and I know biologically, as a black man, I can't speak for every other race, as an African man and woman, we are billions of years old at a minimum. If you identify with anything other than that goddamn universe, nigga, you out your motherfucking mind. Period. I'm a Muslim. Okay, well, Islam is only about 1,000 years old or some change. How are you a Muslim, bro, when you're made up of billions of years old stardust? Before Islam was even, suns was exploding and dying in the sky when you was being biologically created. So how are you anything other than an intergalactic melanated entity? How? That's all you are. And those words right there are limiting because they come from the English language. But that's the best way that I can express to you within this low level of frequency who you are. Okay? Because if I tell some of you niggas, let's start practicing telepathy, you're going to want to look at me like it's a joke and like it's crazy. So you don't really want to ascend to your higher self. See, even when you have dreams, right? When beings come to you in dreams, when you have nightmares, beings speak out their mouth. When you have ancestral dreams, they don't speak to you. They don't say nothing. It's a telepathic interaction. Anybody who has any form of dreams or interactions during sleep can confirm this. So that being said, people of their higher self deal in their mind. This is why your highest chakra, okay, your 2 highest chakras is your 5th and your 6th. Period. Okay? Your throat chakra, right, becomes the medium of communication when you can no longer use your pineal gland. See, your pineal gland is actually supposed to be the size of a golf ball. Everybody's pineal glands right now is probably the size of a raisin. But you don't know that because you don't deal with science. So that being said, when you say, oh, well, why are we not doing it today? Nigga, you don't have you have a dormant pineal gland, nigga. What are you talking about? Not just on that, you've been drinking fluoride all your goddamn life and eating bullshit all your goddamn life. So if your pineal gland, in order to function at its full capacity, should be the size of a golf ball or at least growing to that exact length, width, and height, or that exact composition of physical form, You're not working towards that. You're not working. You don't even know how to exercise this gland in your head called the pineal gland in order to make it grow. But yet you will critique the abilities that you lack because you haven't made it activated to give you those abilities to be once again in your possession. So with that being said, coming back to the analogy, right? We dealing with vernacular, right? A lot of you niggas suffer from vocabularic death. When we dealing with Buddhist monks, right? Buddhism was started by Africans. Let's get that all the way straight. But the Neanderthals today who practice Buddhism, right? They have a higher content of melanin, so they have a deeper spiritual connection to the solar system than their dead brothers, which is Caucasians. Cauc means corpse, which means dead, and Asian. A Caucasian is a genetically dead Asian. Okay? So with that being said, let's break this down. Buddhist monks take vows of silence. Now, why do you think a spiritually enlightened entity would take a vow to never speak a forsaken language? Because they know that the language will only ensnare them and trap them into the illusional world that they're trying to fucking escape. They're trying to stay mentally and spiritually outside of the continuum of physical reality, right? So now you might laugh at a Buddhist monk, right? And you might say, oh, Buddhist monks, they're funny. They don't feel no pain, though. They're always at peace. Harvard motherfucking university professors and science and people that use science labs in Harvard University have went up to the Himalayan mountains and documented Buddhist monks performing what they would call supernatural feats and abilities. So with that being said, who's really the clown? Is it the people who think they've been civilized but really have been hypnotized by demonic entities with negative mentality agendas? Or negative agendas for the mentality of humanity, or the people who kept their ancient wisdom that they got from our divine ancestors and held on to it, even those that are not of African descent. Okay, known today as Buddhist monks and Asians and Chinese people. So with that being said, family, you have to understand your soul is entrapped by the very words you speak. Every time you spell or you write something in cursive, you are identifying yourself with a temporary level of with a temporary event within time and space continuum. So that what you call yourself, you enslave yourself to. If you say, I'm a blood, nigga, how old you think the blood is? Nigga, thousands of years. Nigga, that shit ain't even 100 years old yet. Okay, there were no bloods, nigga, 100 years ago. So now you are 100 years, you are only 100 years old? How, bro? When your genetic makeup is infinite. DNA is connected to the cosmos. That comes fresh out of the universe. Okay, I already did millions of videos on this. Go watch my video Lucifer DNA. So that just to get one, or go watch genetic reincarnation to get another aspect of where your DNA comes from. So that being said, y'all have to understand, as souls, you have reincarnated on this planet in a day and time where it's being ran by a genetically modified race that was created by extraterrestrials, whether you want to believe it or not. And the agenda of these people is to keep the souls of the original, aka indigenous earthlings, who today we identify with as African people, disconnected from their own self and distracted, while the agenda of energetic ciphering is being carried out. And the main motherfucking medium of this is not just religion. Because remember, before you become a religious person, you have to be indoctrinated and reprogrammed with the language of the religion you're identifying with. And the language that you are using is making you feel possessive of this physical construct. Even some of you niggas' last names. Your last name is Johnson's, right? Johnson. Nigga, that mean your slave master name was Johnson. So even you identify with yourself with being possessed by another entity. And then even if you change your last name, the way you speak to other motherfuckers every day keeps you vibrating low. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. How the fuck is you hungry and thirsty if you not your body? If your car need gas, do you say, damn? Oh, some niggas do. I need some gas. Nigga, you... So this goes to show you how much you identify with your vehicle. So when this vehicle is hungry, you're hungry. When your car needs some gas, damn, I need some gas. You the car now? You running out of gas? No. My car needs to be refueled. This car needs to be refueled too, nigga. You're not hungry. Your car needs to be refueled. So that being said, understand that everything you say is ensnaring you into a non-existent spectrum of existence. It's an illusion. You live your life predicated every day upon what you think is real and is really not. And the reason that we hurting spiritually, the reason that we not healing from pain, the reason that we not able to mentally overstand situations, the reason why we lack wisdom, the reason why, you know, we just dying out here due to our own self-destruction is because we are living a lie. Everything you say every day does not exist. You identify with shit that does not exist. Watch this, right? Egypt. That ain't the name of Egypt. That's English. What the fuck is the real name of Egypt? Nobody knows. Africa. That ain't the real name of Africa. That ain't the real name of the continent. That's European. That's also European. What's the real name of Africa? Nobody knows. Melanin, right? This shit in my skin, melanin. Ancestors didn't speak English. They didn't call it melanin. What do they call it? Nobody knows. You know why? Because they spoke telepathically, nigga. You'll never know. You'll never know. It was all imagery and energetic signature and color frequency. Words are used to help us communicate with each other on a third dimensional frequency. Okay? Once you get into the higher octaves of your mind, aka sound, you express yourself different. See, the physical vessel is nothing more than the medium of expression for your ethereal self, which is your soul. You have been disconnected from your ethereal self because you only identify with yourself in your physical form. Once you start to identify with yourself in your spiritual form, by default, you will either reconstruct a language that is more caterative to your soul, or you won't speak at all. Period. This is why Buddhist monks don't speak at all. So, why is this important? A lot of you niggas don't have good self-relationships. A lot of you niggas is peer pressure victims. So if you create a language that helps you actually speak wisely, you won't do it. A lot of you niggas won't create the language, or you, because you're afraid of what people are going to say. Oh, this nigga talking weird. This nigga talking funny. So you are spiritually enslaved to whatever the mass amount of people on this ignorant ass planet, or not, let me not call my planet ignorant, on this planet that are living ignorantly, are believing. So you won't even, once you identify with the problem, you won't even fix it because you scared of what other people are going to say because their lack of wanting to fix their own goddamn problems. So that being said, what enslaves and traps the soul? The belief that you are confined to time. See? You would sit here and say, I'm an infinite being and time doesn't affect me, but damn, I'm hungry. Huh? How time don't affect you when you identify with yourself with something that's actually, nigga, being subjected to time every day. Your body is being timed. This is why you age. Your soul doesn't age. Have you ever seen a soul age? Nobody never seen a soul being old. You never even seen your soul. So that being said, you outside the time continuum, but then you identify yourself as that which is subjected to time? How? Nigga, that's insanity. That's spiritual insanity. So with that being said, we're talking about liberating people. Liberation don't come through no motherfucking executive order, no protesting, no fucking everybody signing a petition. Liberation comes mentally first. The revolution comes mentally first. You cannot have a successful revolution unless you detox yourself from the shit that you fucking revolting from. Okay? If we saying we enslaved, nigga, you not physically enslaved no more. Okay? To a certain extent. But you are still, and even more so, spiritually enslaved. And the number one form of spiritual enslavement is to get you to misidentify with your own self. Duh. And the language that you use every day does that subconsciously without you even being consciously privy to it. So that being said, if I go to the ocean and I take a bottle of water and I scoop some water out the ocean and I take that bottle and I fly across the continent and I put that goddamn bottle of water on this continent and I tell that bottle of water, you're from, let's say if I scooped that water out of the Atlantic Ocean and I went from Africa with that water and I brought it to America and I said, you're an American bottle of water. And that American bottle of water grow up and believes it's an American bottle of water. And not only that, not only does the water inside the bottle believe that it's an American bottle of water, now the water is identifying itself as the bottle. So now the water is in the bottle saying, I need to put my cap on. Okay? I need to put my little tape and logo on me so somebody can want to buy me out the store. How, water? You're not the bottle. You're the water in the bottle. But you become so far displaced from your oceanic self that you have lost that connection. And not only have I gave the water in the bottle a new identity, which is temporary, which causes it to be no longer connected to its infinite self, I give it religion. And now I tell the water in the bottle to believe in motherfucking Kool-Aid. So now the water is praying to Kool-Aid, is praying to the Kool-Aid man, and pouring Kool-Aid in itself, thinking that the Kool-Aid man is gonna motherfucking liberate the water from the motherfucking stores being sold in, when the water don't even, not for one, don't identify with itself as water no more. It thinks it's the water bottle, and now it's praying to something that's actually negative to its true essence. Okay? So that being said, having praying to a God outside yourself is disrespectful to the God right here. When we say the temple of God, they call these your temples. Your third eye is the eye that your soul sees this world with. See, your physical eyes is the eyes that you see what you experience. But your third eye is the eye that you use to foresee what you wish to experience. So your third eye says, I want to go to the store. And your physical eyes sees you walk into the fucking store. So that being said, religion has taken your third eye from you and made you put your ability to create as the God you are, housed inside of this temple, into a fictitious God that doesn't exist. So a lot of you niggas are that water that's inside the bottle praying to the fucking Kool-Aid man. And you putting Kool-Aid inside yourself, diluting yourself. You niggas is putting Jesus and Allah and all this other Hebrew shit inside yourself, diluting yourself, when really all you got to do is fall back into the ocean which you truly come. And just like water, once you put a little bit of water back into a large body of water, that large body of water grows, and that water becomes so infused in a large body. In that large body, it becomes one, and it becomes more powerful. So with that being said, family, you are trapped on this physical you are trapped on this physical plane, not just through the incorrect psychological perspective you have on yourself, but through your language. The English language does not allow you to identify with yourself spiritually, because it was created by people who are not connected to the universe naturally or spiritually. What the fuck? A GMO apple can never create a language and give it to a real apple about identifying with what it's like to grow on a tree. Because it didn't grow on a tree. It was created in a lab. So if we saying all 9 Africans were genetically engineered, which is a fact, okay? How the fuck can they give you a language that will help you identify what it's like to be stepping fresh out of the cosmos? They can't do that. They can't do that. So with that being said, family, free yourself. If we gotta make up a motherfucking language, let's do it. I don't give a fuck what nobody think. We need to be free. So with that being said, we're talking about the revolution. Niggas want to redo everything. Niggas want to go to the school systems and fix the school system. Nigga, fuck the school system. Fix this motherfucking... Nigga, we need a language. If we so great, we so cosmic, nigga, why is my name still Johnny Jones? Why is niggas running around here still Brandon? Why do you still think you're hungry? Why do you still think you're thirsty? Why do you still think I'm mad? Watch this. Niggas get mad. I done did it before, unconsciously. Niggas get mad and just say, I'm mad. How the fuck is you mad? How are you mad? You're experiencing a vibration. You are not the vibration, bro. Period. Period. Are you fired? No. But you can get burned. So nobody gets burned and says, damn, I'm fire. No, you say, I'm on fire. I'm being burned. Same thing with emotions. When you get mad, you don't, I'm mad. Nigga, now you just convince yourself you're mad. You wouldn't be mad if you told yourself, I'm experiencing the vibration of anger because of what someone is doing to me. See, now people think that sounds corny, but that would actually be the correct statement and terminology for that temporary experience that you're having as a soul within this vessel. So that being said, we need to reconstruct our language. If not, the language that we are currently using will continue to have us subjected to time, and that will continue to ensnare us as souls as we continue to reincarnate and try to grow, but our growth is being stopped because we are being miseducated to identify with a temporary form of events within the time-space continuum, and therefore we are becoming physically subjected entities instead of spiritually creative entities. So that being said, you are an infinite being. Your body is biologically infinite years old, but yet your mind and your language and your psychological premise on your own self is motherfucking this big. You niggas repping gang, I'm from Jones Street. How the fuck you from Jones Street, nigga? Jones Street only, 50 years old. 50 years old. You a billion-year-old being. So that being said, family, it's time to ascend. It's time to ascend. It's time to ascend. And for those who don't want to ascend, you keep your ass right here. Because I'm going to sit, guess what? Those who are higher than you get to look down. And I will definitely be on my throne watching all you motherfuckers share each other's fate of ignorancy. So with that being said, the universe has spoken. The sun is heating up. Every 57 minutes, one non-African, aka Caucasian, dies from sun cancer. Keep thinking it's a game. And I'm pretty sure the rate is higher than that. That's just what they're willing to tell us. So with that being said, there's a giant celestial body coming to refresh the energy of this planet. I did a whole video on it called Solar Ascension. So with that being said, Solar Ascension of planetary frequency, I believe. So with that being said, y'all keep thinking it's a game. For those of us who have the activated DNA strands to download, and not just download this information, but to manifest it from within, continue to take this light, convert it into the energy you need it to be, and then express it within your everyday individual realities. And with that being said, family, we can no longer identify with that which is not infinite. Because if it's not infinite, then it is not of the source in which we truly come. And with that being said, I love y'all. Peace.